smaller crowd than usual, but all good. We're broadcasting live. I got the thumbs up. I think we're good to go. So we're going to go ahead and start our meeting. I understand Uncle wants to offer a pule. Is that correct, Kikwa? Uncle? Okay, we're going to bring the mic to you. Um, Uncle here wants to offer a opening pule for us tonight.
Thank you, everyone. Let us thank the Lord, our God, for providing us for this place to gather all these great minds and bodies together and share for the rebuilding of Lahaina. I thank God that He had blessed us with the leadership and the entities and all of those private and nonprofit groups that are involved, that we can have all the resources and success to move ahead. Lord, give us your blessings that tonight we have a good night and good discussion, and that we can pono and have our hearts blessed with good things, that we can allow, after all, that we can let the people who has been hurt and lost homes go back not only to their homes, but to rebuild their lives. For that is important. There's so much to thank you for, but all I ask is that you bless us here and keep us safe and take us home safe and return us home to our families. We pray this in thy precious name. Thank you.
Mahalo, Uncle. Mahalo for offering and asking to do a pule at tonight's meeting. Come on in, grab a seat. No worry, we just started. Before we launch into our slide deck and our presenters and get on to the Q&A portion, just a few reminders. We have crisis counselors here. I'm actually looking for them. Oh, okay. Usually they sit right there in the middle. And then we have our, no faith table tonight. They're all over here. Okay. We have prayer support here. Please wave again one more time. Okay, right here in the corner. And then our translators. There we go. Oh, as usual, we have our translators, Ilocano, Tagalog, Spanish. Okay, got it. And Pidgin. Voter registration, usually they set up a table. Tonight they are unable to join us, but we have voter registration pamphlets right there. I don't know why the faith group has a voter registration, but on a wing and a prayer, please vote, I think is the message tonight. And Food Bank is here as well. They're waving their folder all on the bottom row. You'll see that we're back up here in the gym. A couple of reasons. One, we're really trying to make it work with Parks and Recreation. We think that this allows everyone to spread out a little more for health reasons. You know, with a little rise in flu and COVID, we thought large turnouts in a small hall probably are not the best thing for our community at this time. So we're trying to make it work, and Parks Department was gracious enough to try to set up again for us. It just takes a lot of effort for them. Today, we want to acknowledge that today's Juneteenth Day. Even though it's not a county holiday, it is a federal holiday, and we appreciate our federal partners being here. You know, for Juneteenth, it is a time for reflection. You can look it up if you're unfamiliar with it, but it is a powerful reminder to dedicate our efforts to freedom and equity each and every way. And by having a holiday called Juneteenth, it is a time of for us to remember that and reflect on that. Senior bingo is happening, so they wanted me to remind you that for those of you who want to go on Thursday, June 27th at 9 a.m. at the Royal Lahaina Resort, you can go to something called the bingo blast, Kaunoa Clubhouse. All these slides will be on the Maui Recovers website. I did want to tell you that one of the things that we're doing, we've been asking how best to put up the questions from the community meetings so that you don't have to search really hard for it. So we'll be coming back, hopefully by next week. We're going to show you where you look it up. Where you go to Maui Recovers, and then there's going to be a button that we're still working on to put on, and it'll say community meeting. You click on that, you'll see the video, you see the questions, you see the answers, and you see the handouts. So you don't have to search. We listened, we heard you. We've just been technically trying to figure out how to do it. I think we're just going to go ahead and do it that way. It's not going to be fancy, but it's going to serve the purpose. So look forward to having that available to you very soon. Want to remind you, 211. Our friends are here as well. Malia Davidson down there, Trista from the State Department of Human Concerns or Human Services. Oh, there. 211. Call that for disaster case management help. You'll get a person to help walk you through on your needs. It's a fabulous program and made to be simple. Okay. And again, these are really, really difficult times, and no one knows what each person is going through. But we just want to remind you, we have a counselor at our event. Call 24/7. You can text from Hawaii with 808 area code phones 988. Use the support anytime, wherever you are, for any reasons. We encourage you to continue to do that. Tonight on our agenda, you'll be getting an update. I think we have some really great news coming from Colonel Swenson from Army Corps of Engineers. We have our guest speaker tonight joining us, also from the State Department of Transportation. They'll be giving an update, and Office of Recovery is also here this evening, who will also provide an announcement and an update. And then we'll do our usual Q&A time. And joining us, we have our federal partner state, Four Leaf Permitting is here. So even though they're not presenting, you can ask a question of FEMA, EPA, our Recovery Permitting Center. We have the Director of Planning here, the Deputy Director of Planning as well. Maui Emergency Management is here, American Red Cross, Food Bank. Pretty much we're all here. So we'll do our best, as usual, to help you with your questions. June 15th, we did the neighborhood planning workshop for Lahaina Town South. You can see it was another great turnout, good discussions. We encourage all of you, if you didn't attend one, there is an online version as well. We'll put that up shortly. June 29th, we've been announcing this for, I don't know, a couple of months now. So on June 29th, the doors open at 2:30, but at 3 o'clock to 5:30, at the Lahaina Luna cafeteria, you can attend that, and we'll be going over the historic and business districts through a neighborhood planning workshop, and that will be a come one, come all. So you don't have to be in that district. You can actually participate. This is for all Lahaina community to share your thoughts about the historic and business districts. And if you haven't made any of our neighborhood planning workshops, this is an online version of it. The QR code is here on the screen. Again, it'll also be on our Maui Recovers website. It continues to give the opportunity for everyone to participate, whether or not you're there in person. And remember last month we did our first virtual homeowners meeting. We had almost 500 people, 400 people attend. It was huge. First time we ever tried it. It was so successful. We're going to hana ho. So this is our hana ho, our second homeowners webinar on Thursday, June 27th. A few weeks ago, we said that we'll keep trying this on the last week of every month. So that one, we had our department heads from all of the departments that are doing work for homeowners. So this is an important one. So you may want to mark that date calendar, pay attention to Maui Recovers, sign up for the notifications because you'll be told the link is ready for that meeting, and attend. And you can submit your questions ahead of time. That really helps our department heads prepare for your questions and make best use of it. Mayor Bisson is in Washington, D.C. this week. He is there seeking funding for the rebuild of Lahaina. In this meeting, he's meeting with Mr. Francisco Sanchez, who is the U.S. Federal Small Business Association Administrator, Associate Administrator. Our team there is seeking community development block grant funding, specific for disaster recovery. So he's there meeting with our federal delegation and different department and leaders at the state capitol in an effort to secure the necessary funding, which is, I believe, and Josiah can correct me later, but in the a billion, well over a billion. So he's busy at work. We just wanted to share with you that. Across the table from him, next to Mr. Sanchez, is John Smith, head of our infrastructure branch, also division head with the Department of Public Works. He has been leading the effort of infrastructure. He is also attending. And to Mayor Bisson's left is Lox Abraham, our Government Affairs and Communications Director, and Patience Kahula, who heads the county's Community Development Block Grant Division within the Office of the Mayor. They are there for a few days to continue to seek funding from our federal partners and support. I'm going to call up Council Member Paulton. There she is. Thank you. Did I interrupt your picture taking?
Aloha mai kako. Couple of updates for you folks from the legislative side. This Friday, on the request of some of our community members, I put forward a resolution requesting if the DOE would push school back 1 week. It's scheduled to start August 5th. And there's some commemorative events going on that week. I heard from both sides about for all of Maui because some of Lahaina people have relocated outside of Lahaina. And then I heard also that other people don't have childcare. So if you want it, you can testify in support. If you don't want it, you can testify against, and we'll see how it goes. But it's just a request based on concerns that I've heard from people that they want to attend the commemorative events. They don't really feel comfortable going to school on August 8th. So we're putting a resolution forward to the State Department of Education, just kind of making them aware of the sentiment in the community. The other thing is the temporary structures. Previously was a section in the code and it was only for 180 days. So in the water and infrastructure committee, we discussed about extending that 5 years. It was posted also on this Friday's first agenda for first reading, but it was posted kind of how it was originally proposed, and in committee we changed it. So the advice from our lawyers is not to vote on it this Friday, but repost it correctly. It was originally proposed for dwelling structures in the burn zone to be extended for a 5-year period instead of 180 days. And as we worked on it in committee, what it ended up being is not exclusively dwelling structures and not exclusively in the burn zone. So it could be any type of structure and it could be anywhere on Maui. As long as, and what we did was we linked it to a local or state emergency proclamation. So in the future, if there's some other type of disaster, a temporary structure could be put out for 5 years. The caveat is that after about 3.5 years, they want to check in. It'll be automatically renewed for another year and a half, but that's just to let you know, like, hey, you're coming up on 5 years. The director of public works didn't really want to talk about any pathway to permanency because temporary structures don't need to be inspected and permanent structures do need to be inspected. Permanent structures would need to meet all the code requirements. So it's on the agenda for this Friday, but we probably won't vote on it. We'll have to repost it because the way it reads right now is only in the burn zone. And in committee, we extended it to any place on Maui. like the Ohana Hope Village across from King's Cathedral. Those are temporary permits. The Kaiser outside of Ka'anapali, that was a temporary permit. So they wanted to extend it not just to dwellings, not just in the burn zone, not just for this disaster. So that's what we worked on in committee, and it passed out of committee unanimously. So I have no doubt it'll pass in 2 weeks from this Friday when it gets reposted for first and second reading. Bills got to go through 2 readings. So that's pretty much the update. As far as I know, there isn't yet an expedited process for the temporary structure permit, but maybe it's coming if we call the administration enough, I guess. And that's about it for me tonight. Thank you.
Aloha. It's Wednesday again. My favorite meeting of the week. And unlike the mayor, I really mean that. I don't mean that against the mayor, but I really enjoy standing up in front of you and sharing what I call the You Say Aloha with everyone. So I'm going to show you a little video in a second, but I just want to give you some of the stats first, and then hopefully the video puts it all in perspective. So I've been talking a lot about our numbers. For residential, we're chasing 1399. That's the number of residential properties that we need to get complete. Well, little c cleared first, and then capital C complete. As of a few minutes ago, we are 1,256 little c complete. Little c cleared. And I used to teach math, so I think I'm able to round. That puts us at 90.0% cleared properties. Actually, it's like 89.75, but I'm going to give myself the rounding error and say it's rounding up. So it's 90%. Today we increased the number of capital C by 51. That puts us at 833 properties that we have cleared, put erosion control down, done soil sampling, cleared all the trees, and turned the paperwork back to the county. So 833. That puts us at 59% of residential complete. For commercial, we're chasing 159. That's the total denominator right now. We've cleared 48 and we've completed 19. So about 30%, but we're on a great trajectory for commercial. The denominator's smaller. The numerator's also smaller right now, but we're moving in the right direction. So I'm really excited about that. Also, we completed what we believe is our last blast at Kilohana. So for my side of the construction, we should be done with demo work up there. We still have some hoe ramming to do. That's the big excavator with the big breaker on the front of it. So that makes a little bit of noise. So we still have a little bit of that to do, but we're moving along at a really good pace. And so I just wanted to share the good news. Now I want to share this little video we put together. But before, last week 2 weeks ago I got here and I didn't have a pointer, and I used my finger to point. And my team said that's really like a JV move. So they brought me a new pointer. Let's see how it works. I think it's going to be really precise. If I did stand-up comedy, this is when I'd pull it out, right? A little stand-up, but I don't do stand-up comedy. That's not it. If it doesn't work, we'll try it again next week. Okay, here we go. So I'll get my pointer out. Oh no. Look at all the work we've done. So what you see here is green is completed, yellow or amber is cleared, and red is eligible but not cleared yet. Which doesn't show up very, but you can see here, look at all the amber and the green, right? Got some red. We started working on these properties here recently. I know it's a little hard to see this. Well, maybe afterwards we'll put it on the loop and so you can come up and look at it closer. What it really shows though is this is Como My Street. Every property is cleared but one, and we just got that ROE this week. So that will be the first major road that we have cleared and completed all properties on. And this is the new King Kamehameha, the third school, the temporary school that we built on the north side. So it's just a short video. I just wanted to show everyone, even briefly, when I say these numbers, some people, they don't, it's just a number, it doesn't mean anything. But I really think when you see it from the air and you just see how many properties have been cleared, completed, and the few that remain yet to be serviced, it shows amazing progress. And I think for all of you, I hope it brings you great joy that though this has been a traumatic 10 and a half months, the future is bright, and you'll soon be able to, if you haven't already started, you'll soon be able to rebuild on your lots in Lahaina town. So look forward to bringing this home for the community and getting those last 150 so residential properties cleared here in the coming months. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Josiah Nishita, Managing Director with the County of Maui, as well as helping to lead the Office of Recovery and the overall recovery efforts for the County of Maui. Thank you very much for having us here today again. Just building off of what Mahina had indicated a little bit earlier about the neighborhood workshops, just to put a plug in, really encourage you folks to participate in that. There's also the opportunity to participate online. Provide some feedback online, and you can go to mauirecovers.org to share your information and feedback and visioning. Overall, why that's important, it will help us, as many of you may have been involved in the beginning or know of, jointly through the county, state, and our federal partners, we developed the initial recovery needs assessment to help to identify recovery needs and projects in our community. And what this community feedback will help us to provide is helping to establish the long-term recovery plan for the County of Maui. And feeding into what Mahina talked about, where Mayor is now, why that's important is, of course, as the community identifies projects and programs and priority areas of which to address in the overall recovery efforts. The big elephant in the room is funding and resources and how we're going to pay for that. And so, we really appreciate Mayor up there right now taking the time to meet with our federal partners and other legislators who chair different appropriations committees to help make sure to keep Maui County top of mind, as well as to take this time to really stress that additional funding is needed to accomplish what the community sets forth as its priorities for your community. Just to highlight, I know we talked a bit earlier, maybe a few months ago, about the space at the Lahaina Gateway Center. We are in the process of working through that right now, and we're fairly close. Paint and drywall repairs have been complete. Electrical work, internet connection has been completed. Flooring is in progress right now, and we have furniture delivery and art installation happening next week. Can you go to the next slide? For the art that we put in there, or that will be put in there through our countywide public art program, do a call for artists and invited them to create Art for Hope to be installed in the space. There will be 12 works that will be installed, and it's really a wonderful collaboration with the Maui Public Art Corps, and we're excited really to share this with the community and invite you all out to come see it. And for more information, you can see the website below, or just go to mauipublicart.org and look up the work happening at Lahaina Gateway Center. You can please join us for our open house on July 3rd. Of course, as we're getting closer, we'll have more information for the community. It will be at the Lahaina Gateway Center in lieu of the regular community meeting. And it'll be an opportunity for the community to kind of get familiar with the space. And it'll be a resource out here for you to be able to tap into different resources. We'll provide more information along the way as resources are available. But we have a variety of partners that are anticipated to be occupying the space and will be available for resources at different points in time throughout each and every week. Our Maui Emergency Management Agency is planning to have some space there to provide reentry and contractor passes. Councilmember Polton, one of her office staff, will have a desk space out there. As you may be aware, Councilmember Polton lost her district office space out here in West Maui, and so there will be an opportunity for some staff space out there to connect on the legislative side with some personnel. Haima will be having some space in here, and a variety of nonprofits will be available to help address needs and answer questions and provide resources. And as more details are identified, we'll provide more information as we get closer. Four Leaf will be having some on-site presence, as well as our Office of Economic Development and some workforce development programs will be available there as well. So we look forward to sharing the space with you folks and having another resource out here for you. We are trying to shoot for July 5th for a tentative opening. That date may change depending on a variety of circumstances, but we'll continue to keep you updated as we get closer. But that is what we are shooting for a variety of our partners. Okay, we'll be available, of course, after for any questions, and appreciate all of you taking the time to come here today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Josiah. So all of that means the day before 4th of July, we see you at the Gateway. Okay, so that's a Wednesday night, the Wednesday before 4th of July. Don't come here. We're not going to be here. Don't bring your fireworks. We're going to be at the Lahaina Gateway Center for the open house for Office of Recovery. So we're kind of excited because it took us a while to find an office, space. And what we are hoping is that this will be your place. You drop in, get the information you need, see the people you need to see. Because for many months, we've been having you come here. Every Wednesday, right? You got to come, and then we have everybody. You can ask questions. We give you information. Here, the hours will be available for people to stop in when you can. Because we do hear people saying, I cannot come Wednesday night. I cannot, 2 hours is a long time to sit through the meeting. So we'll continue to meet with our community, but we did want to offer this. I just want to forewarn you that these meetings will not be forever. Not that we don't love seeing you all the time, but it was an opportunity for us to keep giving you information. The opening of the Office of Recovery will be in your town. We literally will be in your town operating. So that's going to be a fabulous day. So July 3rd, see you there, okay, the day before. I got a call today or a text today. Director Sniffen is unable to be with us tonight. He is actually on Oahu, called to meetings with some federal folks that came in from DC. However, we have actually the guy probably more important than him because he lives on Maui. We have the Deputy Director of the State Department of Transportation. I don't know how many of you actually know this, but the Department Director's deputy is a Maui boy. You should know that already. He kind of looked like a Boy Scout, yeah. But Robin Shishido, he'll be up here to talk a little bit and stay with us and answer some questions. Robin?
Hi, good evening, everybody, and thanks for having me here tonight. Again, Ed Sniffen, he apologizes he couldn't be here. So I'll give some updates on our state roadways and what we're doing. First with Honopialani Highway, we heard from the community, got to get it open. We know traffic's been frustrating for all of you. So, we heard get it open for the school year starts, and that's what we're doing. August 1st is our target. And as you heard the colonel say, a lot of the properties are being cleared. And so by that time, the debris trucks will all be off the road, and we can open it up primarily to through traffic. A lot of the cross streets will still be closed as the county is still doing work on their roads. And we have one signal operational right now at Lahaina Luna Road. So as we move forward, rebuilding, as folks get permits and want to enter the area, that one will be signalized. And maybe some of the other roads might be open as well as maybe as four-way stops. So primarily through traffic. But also keep in mind, we do have a lot of work that still needs to be done on the highway. Throughout this time, our folks have been out there assessing our infrastructure. And through that, they found that a lot of our underground storm drains were damaged in the fire. So we just have to go back and replace it. So we'll have some construction work going on. We'll always keep one lane open throughout the whole time. All the traffic signals have to be replaced. So they're being redesigned right now. We're looking at the curb ramps and bring everything back up to current standards. So we have that construction work. With the properties being cleared, we don't need the BMPs on our roadway, so that will start being removed. The dust fence will also start being removed. But again, August 1st is our target date to open up the road. Other things that's been happening, evacuation routes. We know there's a lot of places with, the one way in, one way out, so evacuation routes. And statewide, it's been coming up. So as you know, before the schools reopened up on Lahaina Luna High School, the Princess Lahaina Anna and Lahaina Intermediate, we had that emergency route through Kamehameha schools that we graded, put gravel down, and it was a 3-week build to get that ready for the school. But currently, we're working with DOE for funding to pave the road, and for long term, we're working with Kamehameha schools to have it as a emergency access, for as long as the duration everybody's there. Other emergency access routes, so the subdivisions, that's just Mauka of the bypass. When the bypass was constructed, it went right through that Ikena Boulevard or Ikena Road through there. So we're going to be punching a gate or an access point right to the stone wall. So that's going to start in about 3 weeks. Contractors ordering materials, and it's going to be a one-lane access point that gets you on the bypass, and depending what direction you have to go, we'll coordinate with police department, help control that if it should ever be needed. Hopefully it never does. In other locations, I know access routes, again, emergency access routes on everybody's mind. And in some cases, it's not so readily easily to construct something. So we've been cutting fire breaks throughout this whole time. We've been working with the fire department to identify priority areas. And we have our crews, our contractors out there cutting brush, getting everything down. And, we're trying to maintain that areas, keep it down. Also working with a native plant expert on Oahu who's, want to replant it with native plants, and keep that invasive species from coming back and, bring something back to the area. Let me think. Lahaina bypass going north, I know that's also come up a lot. Anybody who's lived here, we know that's been a project, been discussed probably 40 years. The EIS was completed in early 90s. There was a supplemental done in early 2000s. And we restarted it right in about 2018, 2019, with the EIS and the studies being so old, it needed to be reevaluated. And, at that time, we got funding from the legislature where they increased the car rental surcharge. And then, of course, COVID hit, and, it impacted that revenue source. And so we put it back on hold again. And, if you look at Honopialani Highway, the southern portion is where it's being impacted by climate change. You see sea level rise, you see the erosion. And so the priority has shifted towards the southern portion of it. Last 2 years, we've received a raised grant for 23 million or 22 million, and we also got an earmark from a Center Shots for 23 million. So outside of our normal funding, we've acquired 45 million, but overall, that project to realign Honopialani Highway from the current southern terminus to just about where the firing range is, about 5.5 miles, it's going to cost about 160 million. So we identified 45 million from outside of our typical program. We'll continue to look for grants. And, I know a lot of folks look at the IIJA bill, and there's a lot of federal funding that came with it. But a lot of the federal funding, it's towards resiliency, climate change, and preserving what you have. There isn't a lot of funding there for new capacity projects. Hasn't been the focus with this new bill. So, we'll continue to look at that project, look for funding, any outside sources we have. But at this time, that's the status of that. So, that's all the updates I have, and I'll be around for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. We're going ahead and take questions. I did want to let you know that in a couple of weeks, if not next week, we'll be coming before you to talk about the a week of remembrance for August 8th. We have a lot of events that are coming from the community that we're wanting to support. Everything, from a paddle out to a tribute remembrance event. So those things are getting planned, and we'll come before you soon to give you a little bit more details. We're going to go ahead and start to take questions. We always, as we do, ask you to raise your hand. Got you. Okay, and then we'll run the mic around. We got our mic folks here. And it could be for any of the presenters or any of our supporters here. We have EPA, the Permitting, Recovery Permitting Center, FEMA, of course, Army Corps. We have our Director and Deputy Director of Planning, the county's Planning Department. Robin is staying for questions as well. Mima, Josiah, Office of Recovery, and our friends in the back, as well as Councilmember Paulton. So first question goes right here to Kikoa. Stephanie, who's got the mic? Okay, Kim and then Kikoa, right here. Go ahead, Kim.
I've got a couple questions. One, when Pete Buttigieg was here, the Transportation Secretary, he made it sound like the funding was already in place for the southern route to finish the bypass. Is that not true?
Yeah, for the southern portion, like I mentioned, we got the 45 million from earmark in a raise grant, and the other 110 million or so, 150 million will come from state funding, and then within our other formula, federal funding. So the funding is there for that portion.
Awesome. So I have a question about the northern route because I've gotten mixed messages. What's the state's stance on finishing the northern part of the bypass? Because I've heard mixed messages that maybe the state wasn't in favor of that.
Yeah, right now it is not in our program. It's not in our priority list. New capacity projects, again, is not.
But maybe it should be on the priority list. I think we all want it, Ed. And my last question, the emergency evacuation routes for the schools. Now, who's going to maintain that? Is that going to be the state, the county, or Kamehameha Schools? Certainly the DOE can't maintain those evacuation routes.
Yeah, so right now we're in discussion with all four. It's either going to be a combination of us or maybe the county, or if not, ultimately it will be the state. The state DOT will maintain it.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, everybody. Before I ask my question, I wanted to just say something real quick.
Kikoa, right into the mic.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say that when we ask questions to everybody here, I would think so that everybody hears, everybody knows what we're saying. So if we're asking these questions, we're representing our community. If we're representing our community, then be respectful to the people that we are asking the questions to. If you guys are angry, be angry. Yeah, show your passion. If you're frustrated, be frustrated. But don't target anger to a person or the organization because they're trying to help. So you might get your frustrations out and be disrespectful because these guys are just being respectful to us. I'll be shamed as somebody from Lahaina to say that they're showing us what is aloha and we're not showing them back. We're supposed to be teaching them what is aloha. So please, when you guys come, I'm not saying change your feelings because your feelings is your feelings. You own that. Nobody can tell you you feel wrong. But what I'm saying is be passionate, but be respectful. Don't target somebody and be negative to that person because they're just doing their job just like we're trying to do our job. But if you're respecting Lahaina and you're proud of Lahaina and I'm proud of the people from Lahaina, then I would be very mindful of how I direct my anger. That's all I had to say. I'm sorry for that. But my question is, maybe for Josiah, Colonel, 833 big C's, right? That's a lot of open lots that need surveys. Would that be a county interest to try to streamline that and get that done in sections at one time instead of all of us trying to find surveying companies, trying to decide which one is better, which one is worse, who's gonna cost the most? If we can get it regulated or at least done as a group in an area in neighborhoods, would the county be willing or has an idea to how to help us do that? And if they're not, then should we as neighborhoods do it on our own? But what is your guidance on that?
Okay, well, right now what I can say is each individual property owner, as they're coming in to apply for their permit and whatnot, they are required to do a survey for their property. This question has come up, maybe in different forms or fashions. The county has evaluated a variety of different means and methods. There are some community partners that potentially would want to provide assistance to community members in this route or fashion. But specific to the county right now, there's nothing in place to assist with that. But we have received that inquiry and have had discussions internally about what to do regarding that, if there is something that the county can do. So we are well aware, but I honestly, I have to tell you that there's nothing in place at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We have one here. And mahalo for the manao kikoa. I appreciate that. We hear from across the country. It is super unusual to have so many community meetings and still have everyone hang out and talk story and try to find our way. So I appreciate those thoughts. All questions and comments are always welcome. It's just as the way, and I think it was meant for everybody. Kim, it's just that you went first. Go ahead, sir.
I have a question about the Corps engineers have cleared a lot of lots already, but the homeowners cannot get the clearance letter to give to the contractor to get the placards so they can start to build. So there's a lot of delay in why is it that so many lots have been cleared, but the clearance letter to the individual so they can get the contractor to clear the lot. Why is it taking so long?
Let me see if I can answer that. So, early on we were worried about Little C, getting the debris removed. I think I told you back in March that we were gonna have Capital C, and we had just a few of those. Now everyone wants to get to Capital C, which is complete and all paperwork turned back to the county. So we run anywhere from about 20 days to 60 days to go from Little C cleared to Capital C complete. And that's because we have to do soil sampling, and there's a time lapse as the samples get shipped back to the lower 48. Once they come back, if there has to be a rescrape, you have to get put on another runway, right? Another batting order where you're put in a line, and then we get to it. That can take a week or two, depending on how many are on that list. And then we do another round of soil sampling. Then we schedule you for erosion control. Again, it's another separate crew goes out to do erosion control. That takes anywhere from maybe 3 days to 12 days. And so if you add then we have about a couple of days for paperwork. So if you add all that up, it takes anywhere from at the absolute fastest, maybe 20 days to maybe the slowest, which is 60. Today we got 51 properties that went from Little C to Capital C. So that means if you were in one of those 51 properties and you went down to the county, your paperwork from the Army Corps of Engineers saying that your property is ready for a permit would be on file at the county, or maybe by tomorrow, or
No, but the letter that the homeowner is supposed to receive, that the lot has been cleared, they wouldn't get the contractor's passes unless there's a letter.
Well, we submit all the paperwork and the
No.
clearance digitally back to the county, and the county, I'm looking at my team, the county I think is the one that maintains that letter, that packet on file. So if you go to 4-Leaf, that they have access to the same database, and they'll pull up your file, and in that file it'll say, there'll be that cover letter and that packet from the Corps of Engineers saying that this property has made it through the personal property debris removal process and is ready for issuance of a new permit.
So 4-Leaf is the place to go for the information?
Yes, so at the county center in Kahului, you can come down the DMV building. We can print that for you there, or you can call and we can email it over. I think they're looking for just the one page that says you're cleared, and then you can get the tags for the contractors. So you can call, come down, and then hopefully July 5th, you can come to the Gateway Center. We can do the same.
I have a last question. You know, to get the building permit approved by 4-Leaf, you know, I've been told like 2 weeks, but what I'm hearing is it's taking weeks for them to get the passes, permit approval process. So there's a really delay in getting the building permit approved. And so why is it such a delay?
So I can clarify that. So when you bring in your building plans, they're digitized or they're put in the map system already digitally. Those get routed out to my plans examiners and my engineers. They review the plans for code compliance. If there's deficiencies, they create a letter, 1 page, 5 page, depending on the quality of the plans. That letter then goes back out to the design professional, the architect, the engineer, or the draftsperson. And then it's up to them, their time frame to respond to us. So if you bring in a code compliance set of plans, I can absolutely turn that permit around in 15 days. We just issued 2 more today. We have 65 in queue and 15 permits issued. And those were, few of them were up Como Mai, so they were just reissues that didn't require a plan check. But if the plans are deficient, we send that letter back, and then it is way out of my control on how fast that architect responds to that letter with the plans revised and ready to be compliant for the permit issuance. Does that make sense?
One more. So how many building permit approval so that the contractor can start to rebuild?
There's 15 fully approved and ready to go, and there's 65, give or take, in the plan review process where we're waiting for responses from the architect or the engineer so we can get those issued. So a total of about 80, give or take, have been submitted.
Somebody been telling me about the SMA area in Lahaina. Because they're in the SMA area in Lahaina, they cannot get the permit approved.
SMA is my favorite question, and I'm going to give that to planning.
Okay, we'll let Kate, and we actually have another answer to your earlier question. Go ahead, Kate, you can.
So, Kate Blystone, Planning Director. So, every project, every SMA parcel that's in the SMA has a slightly different story. So I can't give an answer that says, if you're in the SMA, just do this, right? That's not going to be appropriate. So for everyone who's in the audience who's within the special management area, I want to encourage you to call our office. And I have that number, and you can get your pens ready. It's 270-8205. 270-8205. So if you have a home that's in the SMA, so that's everything Makai of Honua Pi'ilani Highway, then you have to go through a slightly different process than what Mr. Renner was talking about. And like I said, every project is different. So I can't give you a blanket answer, but it is part of the approval process that you'll have to go through.
Thank you, Kate. Josiah, he has a clarifying point to the question, and then from there we'll move to where Stephanie is.
Yeah, just really briefly on the closeout packages, you can access that online too. And some of you may have noticed that there's been a delay in the system. My understanding is that it's basically like two databases trying to talk to each other, and that's been rectified and should be caught up with all closeout packages that we have to date by the end of this week. So you can go to mauirecovers.org too and get your closeout package there. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, sir. And then we have a question here on the side, and then we'll go in the middle right after. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, going back to the gentleman's question about the removal debris. If I offended anybody in any way, I apologize. I asked a question last week. You said you was going to get back to me. I gave you my number, all my information. Nobody got back to me. It was already tested, field tests. It was cleared and all that. The gravel was pushed out. A county signed off on it, and I still don't have anything. It's been a while already. So, and furthermore, I asked another question on my property had gravel, so they kind of piled it up in a pile. It wasn't in a pile.
So
They
make
put
sure
it
you
in a
speak
pile.
into the microphone.
They put it in a pile. So my question was last week, why wasn't it pushed back, pushed down? And I had no response to that till today, when I left my number and all my information to you, Colonel.
174?
Lemon Road.
Yeah, 174 Fleming. We just talked about it today. You also had, was that telephone poles? Was that yours as well?
Yeah, I brought that up.
Yep.
They left when they dug, the hole. They left all the dirt in front of the wall.
Yeah.
I'm kind of particular. I kind of particular in my place. It's really taken care of. So that's probably why I brought it up, because I never like one ugly dirt pile in front of my rock wall. Because after the cleanup, it looked all good. So that was my main concern on that also.
Yep. So before the meeting, earlier this afternoon, we went through all the notes from last meeting. I did have one of my teammates out there yesterday or this morning looking at your property. One of the challenges we have with the Wahikuli neighborhood is probably the same reason that they have cesspools, right? It's really, really, really rocky, large rocks in the ground. And so as we did debris removal and removed foundations in the Wahikuli neighborhood, we exposed lots of boulders, lots of rocks that were underneath the concrete slabs. I don't know for sure, but my belief is that when those homes were being put in, those boulders were in the ground, and there's just no way to get necessarily to move them. So they were covered over, and debris, and then slabs were put on top of them. When we did remove the slabs and took 6 inches of topsoil, we exposed these boulders. And our program, we don't take the boulders to the temporary disposal site. We leave boulders, coral in a pile. We clean it. We leave it in a pile on the property. In some properties, what that does is that leaves even larger footing holes in the ground because a lot of the times they were underneath the footers. And we also, part of our contract, we don't come in and bring topsoil back into the property before we put erosion control down. So we remove 6 inches under the foundation. We test. When the test results come back, if they're negative, we then apply erosion control. I acknowledge that some properties out there look smoother, look cleaner. It's likely because they did not have as deep of footers, or they didn't have the rocks. So it was easier to smooth out what was left and then put the gravel on top.
Okay, that being said, why haven't my property passed the big C?
Well, it might have today. I'd have to look. We had 51 get to Big C today. we'll get back out there
Okay,
and look at it.
question for the EPA. Coming back to the cesspool, you said Monday, I guess the 24th, we can get to this point. Is there someplace physically we can go to and go get the paperwork or whatever done so that will CDF come by and give the certificate and all that stuff
Yeah, so there are
instead of online?
yeah, there are physical drop boxes that we have set up at disaster recovery centers. There are two currently, one at the Royal Lahaina and the other at the Hyatt, I believe. So we don't have, I don't think that there are printed out forms there, but if you do want, that's pretty easy for us to do. Okay, yeah, we can do that. That's easy. That's just an email.
Thank you, EPA. Question here and then to the woman in white right there. Go ahead, ma'am.
Aloha, thank you for listening. I live on the shoreline, and we've been kind of waiting for the meeting that was kind of, we were told that there's going to be a meeting in June regarding shoreline's properties, and I wanted to see whether we can have any updates on it.
Sure. I was the one that told everyone that there was going to be an intended meeting in June for Shoreline and SMA. So I brought some friends who happen to be the director of the Department of Planning to give you an update on that.
Hi, thank you for your question. So like I said in the answer to the SMA question, every shoreline property is different. So we did intend to have a big meeting to talk about shorelines, but the more we dug into the issue, the more we realized that we needed to have one-on-one conversations. So what you can expect from the planning department, this is just for shorelines, this is not for SMA. You certainly can call our department anytime about your property and say, what do I do? And we'll answer your questions. But for the shoreline properties, we're going to have special one-on-one sessions set up. So you can talk story with a planner, take your plans there or whatever, just even your TMK and say, this is what I had, this is what I want to do, and we'll be able to talk story with you about that. You may recall, there's some of you may know that right after the fire, the Planning Commission passed new shoreline rules. We're in the process of finalizing those shoreline rules right now, and I apologize, the wheels of government sometimes churn slowly, and we're moving as fast as we can. I promise you that. So our intention is to adopt those shoreline rules, and then those shoreline rules will apply. But that shoreline planner, when you get a chance to sit down with them, will be able to talk through your parcel, what you want to do with it, and help you see the path forward.
When would that be available? Because
So,
I've been
yeah.
calling and they say
Yeah.
they're not meeting. They won't answer my phone calls.
I'm so sorry that's happened, and I will talk to folks about this. We can expect those shorelines. So like I said, they're moving through the process right now. We're towards the end of the fiscal year, so all of our lawyers are looking everything right at the same time. So as soon as our lawyers are done, the mayor will sign those rules, and our intention is to have those meetings at the end of July and the start of August, start having those one-on-one conversations. And I will work with my department to make sure they're more responsive when people call. I apologize. You can imagine we are getting inundated, and I appreciate your patience and understanding. We are doing our best.
Thank you. I also heard that there is a new code change that you're trying to push through.
Sure.
For the shoreline, allowing us to rebuild to where we were.
Sure. So you may be talking about the non-conforming bill.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wish I had brought it with me, and it's been a minute since I've looked at it, and I apologize. I don't have it committed in memory. So the next phase for that bill is to go through the county council. So it's been through all three planning commissions, and now it's going to go to the county council. The intention is to extend the period of time for which you can reestablish a non-conforming use. And I don't have the bill in front of me. I'm sure there's more to it that I just cannot remember all the details. But certainly it'll be in the next couple months that I'll be in front of council for their decision.
Will we have
Okay,
to-
that's going to end up being your
Just
last
one
question.
last question. Will
I know
we
we're going to
have
take the mic.
to apply for new shoreline certifications for the new bill?
So every parcel is different. I can't answer that question without knowing the distinct pieces of your parcel and what you intend to do. So I can't answer that. I apologize.
Thank you. We're going to go here. Thank you for waiting patiently. We've got the two questions here, and we'll go to the front row and then back to the top. Go ahead, ma'am.
My question is with regards to how many structures can be built on a lot. My dad had 3 permitted homes on his lot. I could not find anywhere on the county website with regards to building 3 structures. I could only find like a main dwelling and the size of Wahana, but nothing with regard to a 3rd structure.
Yeah, so like I said, every parcel is different. So I'd have to know your TMK and know your whole story to be able to talk to this. But I will say, in addition to the bill that's talking about non-conforming uses, is another bill that will increase the number of Ohana units or the number of dwelling units that can occur on a parcel. And so those will run virtually the same time through the planning or through the county council. Again, come talk to me afterwards. I'll try to get your TMK and see if I can track that information down, but I can't give you that information without more details.
Thank you, Kate. We'll go here and then on backside, and there's one way at the top. Oh,
Hi,
and then Uncle. Okay.
Thanks for taking my question. It's about a water meter individually on my property. I called the water department and I had a contractor come out and they said, you're gonna have your water meter installed. When I called the water department, whoever I spoke to said, we're trying to get the individual water meters installed first on properties that are already existing, which I understand. They can then get in their houses. But I'm wondering, I don't know, Josiah, if this is for you, but is there anything I should be doing more than checking in with the office, the water department office on that? And then I have a question about survey.
Yeah, I mean, the best recommendation I can give you right now is stay on top of them. And of course, we can talk after too to get your contact info and everything and make sure that the water department stays in contact with you with that. But it is our priority to return people back to their residents that
I
are still
understand
standing.
that. Yeah, it makes
And with
sense.
limited staff and resources, we do have to prioritize in that manner.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think, Mike, this might be for you about survey. Do I need to, before I turn in plans to ask for a permit, do I need to have a survey turned in at the same time that I turn in a completed building plan?
Generally, your design professional is going to want to work off of a survey so that he or she can create the site plan and the plot plan. In cases where that doesn't happen, we would want the survey prior to the first inspection, which is generally, underground plumbing. Before you spend money digging, you want to make sure you're within your setbacks and in compliance with all that.
So normally that is at the same time as you're turning in some plans?
Normally, it's one of your first steps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna go to Uncle before we go to Jack. Go ahead, Uncle.
Thank you. I got only 2 concerns. One is the highway division. You said that you folks have already the appropriated funds to do work on the southern corridor. Yeah. So what is right now that concerns me is that wetlands has become a very important issue that we need to address because it is part of our habitat and our lifestyle. Is that money that you associating with has any kind of ties with helping wetlands to become restored?
Yeah, so right now the project is in the environmental impact statement phase, and part of that they go do the studies, and they have gone out to the it's by the firing range, I think, where the wetlands they're probably referring to. So they are in the process of doing the wetland delineation right now, and as part of the project, we'll find the most least impactful alignment to try and avoid any impacts to it.
Yeah, the question is there funds that will help restore, not only avoid the wetlands?
I think when we go through the EIS and depending on what the impacts are, then sometimes as part of the mitigations, there is a wetland restoration. So when we go through the EIS, we'll see what comes out of that.
Okay, thank you. The next question is I walk around and talk story with people who lost their homes, and then this I think is for the county side. So you can, but anyway,
He telling you you can go sit down, Robin.
yeah.
Yes, uncle.
But anyway, I've been a little bit, even got hurt when I heard some of the stories that these younger guys that got their homes, destroyed and trying to rebuild. And I know there's a group of contractors, building contractors that's trying to help out. But this particular person that I talked to said that she got in touch with one of the lower cost contractors and were told that if your insurance or you don't have the monies to rebuild, like upfront, and that you had to go to the bank or loan company to get the rest of the money, they refuse and they won't do it because of all the paperwork. So my thought was then maybe the county should come up with a creation or create something or organize a authorized body for contractors that's going to rebuild and kind of like, assess the situation. I know some people like build mansions, but that's beside the point. All we're talking about is a 3-bedroom and, the normal living condition, and that she was quoted $1 million. That's a lot of money. Not even the land worth that may be. And you telling that particular person that it's going to cost you maybe $1 million after looking at the blueprint. I don't think that's right. I say let government, let the legal system take care of that part and have some sort of place where these people can come to and inquire where is the best route to take and the direction to take and shut down these greedy assholes. You know what I mean?
Thank you, uncle.
Thank
We will take that under advisement, and we do want to caution folks to use contractors who are reputable and licensed, correct? We have some that are waiting patiently, so we're going to go here to Jock. Where'd she go? Right here with the white tank top, all the way to the top, Stephanie. And then I saw a hand on this side, right there in the Kikoa, and then the blue. But let's go here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jock.
Well, my name is Jock. I work with House Rep Ellie Cochran. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here on this Wednesday evening. But my question is, for clarity, is for Robin. Let's see, I'm a layperson, so I don't understand when you talk about like the north or southern corridor. But my question is in regards to the bypass that comes down by Kiawe Street. I just wanted to ask you if you were saying that that is not going to go back onto the STIP, or is the DOT open to having it put back on the STIP? And the reason I want to ask that is, according to Ellie, she spoke with, I think it was U.S. Senator Schatz, and he was saying that he could try and get us funding for that, but he's not going to do that unless that particular portion of the bypass by Kiawe Street is put back on the STIP. So I guess my question in short is the DOT open to having it put back on the STIP?
Yeah, so as I mentioned right now, that's not in our priority. I don't think it's on the current STIP. We're going through the new 4-year plus 2 STIP process, and sometimes those projects, they might put it in the outer years, which is the unfunded years. But like I think what Senator Schatz was referring to, they have congressional directed spending, and so that's the earmark projects you hear about. So on those, the project eventually has to be on the STIP. So if somebody applied for that funding, at the time we would write a letter to say that should the project be awarded, we would put it on the STIP at that time and execute the project.
Okay, so we have 5 more lined up. So I'm going to ask you to keep your questions to
Yeah, this
one.
is it.
Jock, this is your last one.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
for sure. Robin, thanks again for the response. So again, just for clarity, the Kiave Street, I mean, the traffic is crazy. So right now, it's not a priority, and we won't see that resolved in the near future, not for the next year or two.
Yeah, correct. I mean, even even if the funding was available, with the EAS that was completed in early 90s, early 2000s, there'll still be a reevaluation. That's at least 3 years process, and then a design build contract. That's another 3 to 5 year process.
We're going to go here and then follow to the top there. Kekoa has one. The woman in blue, Junior, and then that side. And I got a ton of online questions. So I hope I can. So I'm going to ask you to respect and ask that one question. Let us answer it. We can do another round, but give everybody a chance. Go ahead, ma'am.
This is for Kate. I was just curious, who do we ask for when we call? And I wanted to make sure I have the right phone number. I have emailed someone, which I won't say his name, but he sent back an email that was very rude and basically told me that he doesn't have time to meet with me, and that he's not a personal consultant.
I'm sorry for that.
No, not your problem. Our fault.
So the number is 270-8205. Okay. And I would call and explain your situation. Depending on whether or not you're on a shoreline property or just in the SMA, someone should be able to answer your question. I'll certainly alert the staff tomorrow when I get in that they can expect some phone calls on this subject. And just tell them you want to understand what your process is. Explain, how big the house is that you want to rebuild, because that's a factor for SMA. Whether or not you and have your TMK ready, your tax map key ready. And that will help us as quickly as we can find information about how your process is, because we do have a process already. So there's a process that you can follow. What we have been working on my silent partner back here and I have been working on is a process by which to expedite some things. It's not ready yet, and that's why I can't talk about it. It's the reason I haven't been in these meetings. But we do have a process in place, and so we can talk to you about that process as it is.
So just to be clear, who's next? We're going to the top here, come down, Kekoa, the woman in blue in the back. Then Junior had his hand up. We're going to go way there to the white shirt and come back to Mikey. Oh, now everybody know Mikey is here. Mikey's here. Where was I? Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for Deputy Director Robin Shishido being here tonight. We definitely have a lot of transportation questions. One of them is and August 1st for the open of Hono'ipilani Highway is excellent. Thank you for that. In the interim, would it be possible and would the county agree to allow contractors such as MECO and other independent contractors who are working in the burn zone to allow them to enter from the south terminus rather than going the bypass route to go into the burn zone to alleviate some of that traffic that we're experiencing on Keawe?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. I heard from Senator McKelvey's office that was one of the issues or concern that was causing a lot of the backup. So we'll go back tomorrow. I'll talk with the county and talk with our contractors or all the contractors and have them do that.
Thank you for that. I know that I'm supposed to only do one question, but that northern extension of the bypass is super important to the community. And I know that there are so many federal partners and then the state and the county here in the same room. And I'm just wondering if all funding options have been explored to make that happen because of what we experienced last year where we could not access Keawe to have an escape route. And so I'm wondering if evacuation routes, whether they be designated at the state level, harbor level, county level, if we can get more federal assistance to, I don't know, put our foot on the gas, I guess.
Yeah, as part of the recovery plan, we did put the Lahaina bypass phase 1C in the needs assessment. And when you put it in there, then yeah, everybody will look for additional federal funds, what may be out there that could be used.
Okay, we're gonna go to Kekoa, the woman in blue, Cynthia, Junior, and then back on this side. So Stephanie or Cynthia, one of you, kind of make your way over there. Go ahead.
Okay, this is a question text to me. Is there a collaborative effort by the state, by the county with FEMA, state, or other stakeholders to conduct a water study as part of the planning process? If so, who is responsible for that effort?
Drinking water study or shoreline water?
Drinking water study.
Yeah.
So we'll be with planning if there isn't any water study and who's responsible if there isn't any.
So this is a great opportunity to talk about the long-term recovery plan, because a water study could certainly be a project that's in the long-term recovery plan. Really important. Josiah probably stressed it enough, but I'd love to stress it again. On the 29th, we have our last meeting for the neighborhood meetings where you can put your input into the long-term recovery plan. But to answer your question, no, not to my knowledge. But then I see Sebastian here from EPA who has all the answers.
Well, I wouldn't quite say that. The question is, has there been an effort? Yes, there has. I'm not sure exactly what kind of water study. That could mean a lot of things, but assuming we're talking about drinking water, yeah, we've been working with the county quite a bit on some technical assistance requests to see if we can hook them up with state funding through DOH, through some EPA grants. There's still some work to be done, but yes, it is something that is on our radar. We're working very collaboratively to see what we can do. It's actually part of what my whole role out here has been. So.
Thank you, Kekoa. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
This is for the Department of Transportation guy. I've been coming for months. I've been asking you guys to open up the lower highway for months. I'm glad you're doing that. But when it comes to the North Bypass, April 18th last year, 2023, I have the news article. We were awarded $70 million. Angus McKelvey was awarded $70 million for the North Bypass to be done. This community here comes every week, and the mayor asks us, what do you guys want to see in your community? We are telling you to put that on your agenda. I don't want to hear that it's not on the agenda. And if you have the 70 million earmarked and we're not using it, then give it to us to rebuild, because all of us were underinsured for a fire we did not commit. And I'm really upset that I keep coming and I keep asking about you guys, about the transportation, about everything. I hear now you guys want to be able to put Ohanas on your land, and I think that's great. But here's infrastructure again. Where are the roads? We have 450 homes going up Kiave Street right there, and you want everybody to come down Waiakuli. That's not right. When you build, you have to build roads. Where are they? And why aren't you building it simultaneously with building homes? It has to be done simultaneously.
So regarding that 70 million, I don't know of that award. I think he might have put it in the budget bill, but I don't know about it being awarded or appropriated. Regarding the temporary housing coming up, we are looking at paving the parallel Cane Hall Road that will go from Kiave up to Kaka'alaneo to alleviate that traffic.
We're going to go to Junior and then up there. Go ahead, Junior.
Yes, sir. Okay. Kekoa, I'm going to respect the guys that's here. I respect the guys that's here. Okay. Mahalo, you guys. Mahalo, Yuba, for coming, for your department. Kind of pissed off that Ed Sniffin is not here. Okay. Bottom line is, he's the guy that's saying he's not going to fund this thing to the north. Yeah. Years. Me and Kekoa, we were juniors in high school when our classmates got kicked out of their house because of the bypass. I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was. But we've been waiting for so damn long. Okay? The mayor and the governor never listened to Lahaina when we told them no open up too early for tourism. Okay? Because we only had that one road. We're not ready. Okay? So, like everybody kind of was saying, prioritize that bypass now. Okay? The realignment of the Hono'opilani Highway. Dude, that's been talked about since Arakawa, I think, was in office. I ain't go camp down there for blocks the guys building seawalls 10 years ago. So don't keep talking about them and no do nothing about them. Yeah? Go tell this guy, Ed Sniffin guy, yeah? Tell you right now. But help us. Yeah? Thank you for opening up that lower road, but still yet, we gotta wait till what, August? Yeah? The school, I don't know, gonna open up. We're gonna get jammed up again. But bottom line, I dropped this mic, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now, Ed Sniffin better listen. Okay? Get that thing out there because all the tourists is out in Kanapali. They gotta pass Keawe Street, like brother used to talking about Keawe Street. We ain't screwed there. Yeah? I know the development of the Kupo'i or whatever name they get. They will put money into the highway. They will put money. So all these guys putting money into your department, but we're not getting nothing. Okay, thank you.
I will relay the message to Director Smitton.
Thank you, Junior. Go ahead, sir. The top.
On the total cost to rebuild our homes, the government charges a 4.712% general excise tax. How about the government waiving that tax for those of us who lost our homes in the fire? For $1 million construction bill, that adds over $47,000.
Thank you for that reminder. In terms of the request, we did look into it. I think we have to see where that suggestion is standing. For it, I think it was a fair request to ask, but we'll have to check on that. He actually asked that question before, that's why. Thank you. I lost a hand. Oh, Mikey, right here in the middle. Oh, where did Cynthia go? I'm sorry. Right here, in the middle, and then smack in the middle with the in pink. Go ahead.
This question is going to be maybe between Department of Planning and Office of Recovery. But before I get to the question, I do want to mahalo you, Robin, for showing up for your boss. That was not right. That was not right. So I appreciate your the balls you have to come to Lahaina and do this. So mahalo. Sorry, Mahina, I couldn't think really quickly.
Speak your mind.
And just let him know, what he's saying to us is we're hemorrhaging from the arm and the leg, and he only wants to focus on the arm, right? No, makes sense. Anyway, Office of Recovery and Department of Planning, mahalo for coming out. Could you explain to us the vision of what's happening with the neighborhood workshops? Because I'm having a hard time getting over a disconnect. I can see the planning and the vision of wanting to rebuild properly, safely, correctly, but we're also racing with the big C's to repopulate. And my concern is if the visions don't align and the timing doesn't align, we might be in a precarious situation. Yeah, so let me just be really clear. The long-term recovery plan does not, the long-term recovery plan is only projects and programs. It does not slow down rebuilding. All it does is it gets us in line for funding to do infrastructure projects. So we have to do this plan to get the funding. That's why we're doing the plan. And the neighborhood workshops, and how many of you have been to one of our neighborhood workshops? Yeah, So these workshops, people come and they share their best ideas. And what we're doing simultaneously is we're collecting from all of these people and people who are not in this room, the recovery teams that we've got on all of the different subject matters. We're collecting projects from them that they know from already from their work that they've heard that we need. So we're going to take that list of projects and we're going to combine them with your comments and say, where are the gaps? And that will complete the long-term recovery plan. So that plan, I don't think it was mentioned here today, but I say it every time we do these neighborhood workshops. The plan, we expect a draft in the fall and then a final in December. And unlike any other plan, I mean, I'm sure some of you were involved in the West Maui community plan process, I know, because I recognize people. That plan is not adopted, it's just done. And then we can go get money for those things. So it's really important that you get your mana'o into that process so that we can make sure that we have all the projects we need to recover and rebuild properly. And it doesn't, I just want to make it very clear, doing this process doesn't slow down. What it does is it gets us in line for funding later on. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Kate. We'll go here to the woman in pink and then over to Kai. Go ahead.
Oh. My question is for Robin.
We're going to ask you to speak straight into the mic.
And Robin, my name's Robin, and I've spoken to you on the phone. We had a good conversation. You liked my ideas. And I think Ed Sniffen is not here because he's stuck in traffic. That's the truth.
It's on Oahu, though.
That's okay. Doesn't matter, he wouldn't have made it. And I lived in Lahaina and moved to Ka'anapali. And since the Lahaina fire, Ka'anapali has had 4 fires, 2 evacuations. We were evacuated into a dead end. The road is not complete. There is no bypass out there. And when you talk about this, Route 3000, it is not Lahaina bypass. It is Route 3000, which dead ends at Kiawe Street. Kiawe Street was not designed to take the traffic, 100% of the West Maui traffic. I call it Killer Kiawe Street. My neighbor is permanently injured but lived. I've played dodgeball with my car, with crazy tourists, crazy drivers, road rage. It needs, right now, tomorrow, it needs police directing, assisting, helping pedestrians across. You didn't build us a pedestrian overpass. And there's housing on both sides of the street. There's grocery stores both sides of the street. It's not right. West Maui, we've paid our dues. We took back the tourists too early. They didn't keep them out when they said they would. The governor didn't keep our grocery prices and price fix things. They all went up since the fire. We need service. We need our money invested in safety and roads and infrastructure. They had money to redo under Front Street in the historic district. When they went under the road, it was a mess. They just didn't do it. COVID came, the project disappeared. West Maui has paid her dues. Lahaina was the heart of Maui, and it's gone, it's broken. We deserve to be fixed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, are you going to talk to Ed? We'll go to Kai, and then we had a question. Oh, I lost her. Where did she go? Up there in the yellow. Oh, no, Paul. Okay. Go ahead, Kai.
Hey, Robin, don't run away yet. Got to come back to the box. Aloha, Kai Palayo. How are you, Robin? I live in Leili'i, Hawaiian Homes. They got the big project going up above us. And this afternoon, a rumor was generated that it had Ed's name attached to it, saying that he's going to open up Lele'i Parkway for access to that project that's above for the duration of paving the roads and other things. All the meetings that we've had at the very beginning till today, we've had numerous meetings with Goodfellow Brothers and everybody that's out there, and they've been going through. It was only indicated that it would be for possibly construction traffic and emergency access to clear out as an escape route. Because it is a 4-lane, but it's only been 2 now. It would have to be changed. There was some discussion early on about making it as an access point, but they would have had to open all 4 lanes to make it work right, do new lights and everything else. The excitement that was generated by this Coconut Wireless this afternoon may have him, if he said that, if it's going to be true, is to come out with the full scope and plan so we have an understanding of what's going on, because the rumors are running crazy right now. And it all started up late this afternoon when he's not here. So I'm just going to, it's a comment, go back and share. He's on the board. The social network is blowing up, and it's counter to the discussions we've had. We've also had discussions with the contractors, and the contractors say that they were not aware that it's going to be opened up for general traffic. So, as a take back to Ed, thank you for being here.
All right, I'll definitely relay the message. I mean, so actually today at 1 o'clock, I don't know when the rumors started, but we did have a discussion about the usage of Lele'i, Wahikuli Road, Fleming Road. And as you mentioned, it was for construction, it was for emergency, but it was also going to be for when the property is first opened. So the Kalaiola subdivision or temporary housing is looking to have its first units open in the beginning of August. And from now till then, and probably going beyond, we'll also look to pave the Cane Hall Road. So there may be a short time that those roads would be used as some access. Yep. Okay. No, got it. We'll definitely get the messages out there.
Thank you, Kai. We have a question, Cynthia, up there in the blue. I will take an online question and then we'll go to actually going to take a couple. One question, and I think this might be for Josiah or planning. I'm not sure. For Kahua Camp, will there be rezoning or land swap? Because my property has been cleared and completed, but should I pay for my plans to obtain a permit?
Okay, thank you very much for the question, whoever that was online. Mayor and I had the privilege and opportunity to walk some of the areas with some of the residents of that area fairly recently. I think it was a very good on both parts for them to learn some of the things that the county is doing, as well as for us to be able to kind of see the real life impacts and real world impacts of what they experienced. Following that meeting on site, we did go back to our departments because some of the areas did measure kind of lower, in terms of roadway widths, lower than what we would classify now as kind of the minimum health and safety standards. When we did go back and look through our records, the rights of way established on the county roadways actually are meeting the county and health and safety requirements. What we noticed was a big issue in that area, and this will be addressed as people are surveying and rebuilding their properties, is significant encroachment issues onto the right of way. So, there was a bunch of properties that had walls like lining the roadway on either side, creating a very narrow roadway, in which case vehicles could not pass on either side. Looking back at the records, it is evident that individuals have encroached onto the right of way, thereby narrowing those roads and access routes. So, in the overall question, I know, in the beginning, I think there was a lot of concern, especially up in that area, for potential, land swaps, re-subdividing properties, changing the overall structure of the neighborhood. Those are conversations, of course, that the community has shared with us. And I think some of the new information that I'm sharing tonight following our meeting with residents is that the rights of way have been encroached upon. And in the rebuilding process, individual property owners will have to stay on their property lines, thereby keeping the access ways open for just regular road traffic as well as emergency travel. There are a variety of projects that we're working on specifically in the Kuhua Camp and Kilauea Mauka area as it relates to emergency evacuation routes or additional access routes. Unfortunately, there's ongoing negotiations happening with different landowners and entities that we can't disclose at this time. But when the opportunity becomes available, which we hope in the near future here, we'll be able to announce to the community some additional opportunities that the county has secured to establish additional pathways in that specific neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Josiah, council member, looks like she wants to add to that. While they're conversing, I'm going to answer a quick question online. Will there be police to assist to direct traffic for the July 3rd opening of the new Office of Recovery site? We will tell the planning committee to anticipate that. And I know when I was in a discussion today, we're talking about traffic control. So that is absolutely top of mind and part of planning. So thank you for that question online, council member.
I just wanted to share that I've been in email conversation with Jen Maiden, who is with the recovery support function for planning. And she's working on putting together a virtual meeting next month, mid to the end of the month, specific for Kuhua Camp to try and resolve some of the issues. So I just wanted to put that on your radar.
Thank you, council member. Here's a question asked online before we go to that question. I lost a house. Is there any help for getting my mortgage company to extend forbearance? We want you to know that on June 28th and 29th from 10 a.m. to 4 at the Hyatt Hotel, the HUD is sponsoring a mortgage assistance event. So again, on June 28th and June 29th, HUD, federal agency HUD, will be hosting a sponsored mortgage assistance event at the Hyatt Hotel. Go ahead, ma'am, your question?
So with all these planning groups that you guys were having and everybody comes and gives their information to, and people's lots have been cleared, are they able to build? Because they're waiting for these answers from these little planning development little group thingies, and their lots are cleared, but they don't know what's going to happen to their lot if they start building. And are you going to move them? Are you not going to move them? Are you going to widen the road? Are you not going to widen the road? What are those people to do if they're sitting around waiting and wanting to build, but yet they're waiting on all these little planning things to come about? How long do we have to wait to get an answer on those planning parties?
Thank you for the question. Just so you know, and I think Kate covered this pretty well regarding the long-term recovery plan. You know, these efforts are not looking to address or impact a specific parcel. So in each community workshop and even meetings that we attend here, different areas have kind of different areas of concern or needs to be addressed. So as you can imagine, like Wahikuli, the biggest issue is like the cesspools and what to do regarding that. Kilauea Mauka, Kuhua Camp area was specifically about road access, evacuation routes and things of that nature, and as well as a host of other issues. The thing that we would advise people is you can pull your permits and start your rebuilding activities. Any property that the county has already identified for planning purposes as potential additional access routes or evacuation routes or whatever, the property owners have already been contacted and talked to. So unless there's some change to that in the future that we don't foresee at this time, individual property owners who haven't been contacted will be able to continue to go through the emergency permitting process or other processes that may be needed. You don't need to sit around and wait. As I mentioned, though, we will have to ensure that you comply with specifically like the rights of way and your property lines, because as we can see, there's significant impacts that creates for surrounding neighborhoods and your neighbors, not only just in normal day-to-day life, but as we can see in a disaster case situation, those types of decisions can have significant ramifications. Thank you.
Thank you, Josiah. An online question is, can anyone tell us what's with all the housing project building up Lahaina Luna Road next to right in Ikena Avenue? Sorry, I don't know Ikena Avenue. Who it will be living in those tiny homes? Does anyone know about that? Mr. Shishido. Okay, do you want to live there? What is your dog's name? They come every day, every week. Dusty? Oh, Rusty. Oh boy. Okay, that's our biggest fan. Go ahead, Robin.
So I think that's probably the subdivision that's more across the Lahaina Interschool. And actually that was a subdivision that was built when Lahaina bypassed and for the folks that were relocated. And there were 8 remaining lots and they've been sitting around since I don't know how long, 10, 12 years. So those lots are being developed in coordination with CNHA to help, folks that have lost their home. So it'll be for them. And so I think there's going to be 2 tinier homes on each lot, so we have 16 homes available for folks.
Thank you, Robin. So that's a CNHA?
Yep, they're the developer that we're working with them. It's a DOT property.
Okay, Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. This question may be for Josiah. Has the County of Maui ordered any appraisals for property in the fire zone? And if yes, for what purpose?
Okay, so generally I can say yes. I alluded to this a little bit earlier that there's ongoing negotiations in certain areas that, until the negotiations are complete, we can't disclose. But there are, various reasons why the county may engage with a landowner. That could be for additional access ways or evacuation routes. It could be for cultural purposes or other types of purposes. So, I do anticipate, hopefully within the next few months here, that we'll have some solid announcements for you folks so you can understand some of the movements that are occurring. And I guess finally, I would just note that there are programs that are coming down, such as the Hazard Mitigation Grant Funds and that program that can be established, CDBG DR funds that we hope to be allocated from our federal partners. And there are programs utilizing those types of funds as well as working with FEMA and other counterparts on potentially for property owners along the shoreline who are impacted, that there could be opportunities for shoreline buybacks and things like that. Of course, we'll continue to have conversations with community members and we'll provide more information about what those programs are and how people may be able to participate as time goes on. But that's just a very quick high-level summary about why we may order appraisals and or work with property owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Josiah. We'll go to one more online before we take those questions at the top. Any results on soil samples? Any results yet on soil samples? That's an online question, Colonel. And then we'll go to the top.
Yeah, so we've, every residential and commercial lot that we clear, we do soil sampling on. And before the lot gets erosion control placed down, we've got the results back for those. That is, we do have the data. It's in our database, which gets ultimately transferred with our packets back to the county and back to FEMA. And I think it's actually on the. I think there's a way to access it from Maui Recovers, but I haven't actually done it myself, but I think it is on Maui Recovers as well. There was a glitch maybe last week, and we fixed the glitch, but the data is available.
Thank you, Colonel. Stephanie, at the top.
Yes, I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight, and we just as a community appreciate you so much. And my question is for Robin, and
Robin. And
What I-
I'll ask you to speak right into the microphone.
Okay,
Thank you.
what I would like to know is there's a lot of concern about the bypass and the traffic in Lahaina. So what message are you going to carry from this meeting tonight to Ed? And also, is it possible for him to come to one of our meetings to answer these concerns?
Well, as I mentioned, with the Honopiilani Highway opening, it's going to relieve a lot, coming down Kiawe Street and so forth. So that will relieve some of that. But yes, I'll ask Ed. I'm sure he would come anytime that he's available.
I will say that Ed did, I confirmed with him a few times because I knew you all really wanted to hear from the top of the department. And he was with absolute certainty coming. I didn't get any wavering or anything. When he told me he couldn't make it today, I said, oh, they're not going to be happy. So he does know that there's an interest to have him come, but he didn't not want somebody here to help with the answers in any way possible. So we do appreciate Robin being here. He has committed to come, and we will have both of them probably at one point in time. And the reason why I think he's coming is because I said, do you have any PowerPoint slides or photos? He goes, no, not for this one, but for the next one. So that's why I feel that way. We'll take another question from the top, and then we're going to wrap up. We'll have the last question coming from you, the third and final question. But go ahead, ma'am.
All right. Aloha, everybody, and mahalo to you all. Just again, Robin, can you please let Ed know, now the questions have been asked over and over and over again by many of us about the North Bypass. So when Ed comes, that's what we want to hear. What's going to happen? What can be done about the North Bypass? So that's what we want to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. She had a question? Oh, here. Okay. And then we're going to let Kekoa have the last question for the night because we've been at it for a couple of hours, ma'am.
I think it's for the Colonel. Is there any update on the pool? And will that be able to be, will the pool and the
Aquatic Center?
Boys and Girls Club and the football field and the skate park be ready when the lower highway opens? Because I know that'll be the next question. When the highway opens, can the kids go back to having some activities since we don't have it this summer?
I'm smiling because I wish I had a really good answer for you. The pool actually is not part of the personal property debris removal program. Neither is the Boys and Girls Club. Now, the Boys and Girls Club was occupied by the EPA, and they have done some improvements to make that space better than when they found it, so that they can return it in a better state. The pool is not eligible, and we have been in some discussions with the county and Mr. McCall, right, the director of Parks and Recs, on how to get it fixed. So I can't speak for him, but it is not part of my debris removal program because it didn't have damage. The type of damage that it had did not rise to the level of entry into our program.
And we are expecting Director McCall and the Parks Department back. They were here last month. We want him to come back and give an update, including a response to all those suggestions that we had at that meeting. Keikoa, you're going to be our last question for this evening. Our team will hang out here as usual. Go ahead.
Sorry, I get so much questions, but Robin, again, I don't know if you got to answer anything, but this is a thought. If we know FEMA is not building anything permanent, but I was just up above Kai'ulu, the new development, and there's a huge road that was cut for the trucks. You can probably fit 3 semis next to each other on this road that was right above the original, not the Hawkane Road, but the original Cane Field Road that Kahoma Farms was using to get up to the zip lines and their ATV tours. So this huge road was, I guarantee there's no EIS because it was built within the last month. So this huge road has been built. What doesn't make sense to all of us is if we are spending money to upgrade the Cane Road all the way to Kakalaneo, and we're forcing everybody from this 800 units that is coming, 869 units that are coming up, all south, whether they go down the highway or up the bypass, they're still going to force 800. So you're talking 1,600 cars to come down south on the highway within the next 6 months. Wouldn't it be smarter to build, instead of doing the Kane Road, build above? If it's not permanent, if it's not the bypass, at least it's a road above that attaches to Calvi or the bypass, because I drove from the bypass on this road and it's a big road and it was cut fast. So if we do that same thing all the way to Kakalaneo, then you're going to save the money. We know that Kaioulu already put in $8 million. We had meetings about that before the fire, saying they wanted to come down Fleming or down Leali'i, and we stopped that. So there's that money. FEMA, I know it's not permanent, but they're going to put money into this road. Make them cut the road that's not permanent, and then later the state paves the road. But let us go up instead of down. Go Mauka. Even though it's not the bypass, at least it'll be the structure for the bypass, and we'll be up there. We don't want it on that's a lot of cars. You know, the hotel's built new towers. For 5 years, we had to do a study to make sure that we didn't impact traffic. I don't know how you can do a study for 1,600 cars, because I'm just going to average 800 units, 869 units, 2 cars per unit.
So Robin, the question is, can the State Department of State Department of Transportation look at more comprehensive planning with an existing wide road that was cut through specific for this? Come on this side, only because we capture your answer on camera.
Yeah, let's talk. Sorry, after this, I make sure I understand what exactly you're talking about. I think it's right where the bypass ends and you turn down Kiawe Street, where those existing gates are.
Yeah.
So it's the construction route that's going to the subdivisions. Is that where you're?
That was just an example of being able to cut a road where there's no road without doing environmental impact statements, without doing surveys, without doing studies. I was walking up there. That's my backyard. So that the surveys were actually done in 2008 and 2009, because I was there when they were doing it. So it wasn't in the 90s, wasn't before 2000. Was that time they put ribbons on all the koa trees and they went all the way down. They did from the turn in the bypass. So that was 2009, 5 years. So by 2014, it already expired. So then you guys are saying that in 2018 and 19, we're supposed to do it, but the survey's already expired. So I'm just saying, if we can't build the actual bypass, why don't we still go north and build, instead of redoing the Kane Road, just go north and build a temporary road, but at least forcing traffic to go up and avoid coming south, or at least being half, because that's a lot of cars.
Okay, yeah, let's look.
So Robin, can you, with the department, take some options? If they cannot complete the bypass, suggestions from the community for alternatives.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So when Ed Sniffen comes, everybody will have a little paper sign that says, "Hi, Ed." How's it, Ed? Mahalo, everybody. Our team will be here. And thank you all, as usual. Thank you online for watching. And please visit our social media pages for the recordings. Aloha. Take care. Drive safe.